5 years before the Civil War, the monarchy in Spain had followed without violence. A series of unsuccessful campaigns led to a military coup, which ultimately resulted in King Alfonso XIII left the country in 1931. The Second Spanish Republic, a government of mostly middle-class liberals, was established in 1932. A battlefield of politics, ideology, and the social development of Spain were created. At that time, the social component of Spain is complex. The one who went through significant exploitation under the old ruling classes, including the farm laborer and the industrial worker, hoped the republic would immediately break the oath of freedom and unreasonable ruling classes. More specifically, they request for a social and economic order that would be more just and more equal. Some of them even began to attack the church as to challenge the old society. Meanwhile, the pillar of the old society remained hostile to change, including a powerful and deeply conservative church. The church still held the respect of the rich and powerful who owned land and factory. They were hostile to the farm laborer and the industrial worker who were seeking for more fair and financial division. Moreover, radical or conservative ideas represented by such as anarchist and royalist occurred. The political environment gradually intensified. Seeds of the conflict scattered out through the disputes of the left and the right. In 1933, the left-wing party were coping with internal friction, which consequently led to a new right-wing party called Zeta. The first mass Catholic party of Spain won the election, made the government into right. The reform program requested by the left-wing party slowed down or went to reverse, and the opportunity of the revolution faded away. The Spanish socialists decided to strike back. They carried out several protests against the government and rised up in Asturias, which eventually being crushed by the army. In 1936, the election led to a narrow victory of Popular Front, a camp formed by the socialist, communist, and anarchist. The victory granted the political status for the left wing and turned the revolution from idea to reality. They immediately restored the policy of reform and initiated the countermeasure against their opponent. Later, a leader of the opposition were murdered by the left-wing police. This event significantly exacerbated the conflict and accelerated the rebellion of the army. The rising erupted and swiftly spread to mainland. General Franco gained faith and support through the series of victories, and apart from that, the superior of Franco died in a plane crash, leaving Franco a centralized political power. Thus, he granted all the power of the new state of Spain. From internal side, Franco and some right-wing politics managed to unify several perspectives of the nationalists, consist of conservatives, the Zeta, the monarchist, Carlist, and the major one, Flanque, the fascist party. For external side, Franco was immediately assisted by the European fascists. In order to avoid communist-influenced government, control the Strait of Gibraltar, and take advantage of Spain's iron supply, Hitler sent a full squad of planes to transport Franco's troops. At the late stage of the war, battlefield of Spain even became the testing ground of new weapons and tactics of fascists. Those factors undoubtedly extend the lead of nationalists. However, the factor from the internal side of the republic exacerbate their unfavorable condition. The internal disputes of the Republican side had been revealed since the very start of the event. Both sides have one thing in common: the diversity of its components. The nationalist side managed to unify them, mostly attributes to some negotiation or measure carried out by some far-sighted politics. while the Republican side lack of this unifying. The communists proposed nationalization throughout various sectors, while anarchists were seeking for a collectivized economy, opposite to the further centralization featured by the communists. The formation of the Popular Front, or the proposal of the Third International, in order to gain superiority against the right wing in the election, its internal disputes of perspective had never got solved or unified. After the new Prime Minister, supported by the Third International, started purging the anarchists launched a rebellion aiming to resist the Republic and the communists. The rebellion ended up by the purge of the radical anarchists of the Republic, also letting Republic losing its opportunity to counterattack. For external side, the Republic gained military support such as tank and plane by Soviet Union in exchange of gold. The new established international brigades, composed of 10,000 of volunteers from various countries, arrived in Spain and dedicated to the defense of Madrid. However, the expansion of the Republic of getting support by England and France, aiming to counter the expansion of fascists, turned out to be disappointed. England hoped to remain neutral and distant to the potential war in Europe, thus didn't support Spain. France supported the war at first, while facing domestic opposition and the action of England, they stopped soon and closed its border. Despite receiving support from the Soviet Union and the international brigades, the military force of the Republic were still composed of armed workers and militia, while the opposite nationalists were well-trained Moroccan legion and well-equipped fascist support. Moreover, the nationalist troop managed to capture the major food, iron, and coal-produced area, and which granted them stable food supply and economic income. In contrast, the internal disputes of the Republican didn't stop until the purge of the radical anarchists. After a series of military failure, the Republic government and some Labour Party leaders left Spain. Eventually, the Republic lost the war. I didn't go into detail of the brutal progress of the war of some rebellion, but the Spanish Civil War was definitely one of the most cruel civil wars in the world. 500,000 people died, half of them died in the war, while another half died in the purge and suppress of both sides of the war. Nonetheless, 30,000 people died after the war because of the purge to the Republicans carried out by Franco. Spain lost its 1% of population.